Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios, Kokomlemle in Accra, at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country, including Sunshine FM in Boko, Jubilee FM in Keta. It's on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, SuperSim, Build Your Dream, and Telesol 4G, just a touch. In this edition, as President Akufo-Addo prepares to outline his administration's achievements in fighting corruption, we hear from former General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, who is casting doubt on the country's seriousness to eliminate corruption.
Sometimes I wake up in the night, deep in the night, ask myself, are we serious? Do we really mean to fight corruption in this country? Those in government are corrupt. Those in opposition are innocent.
We have more from him as analysis on the government's actions to curb corruption is underway, and also pressure group Youth for Accountable Governance petition Strad asking for a declaration that acting board chairperson of Ghana Revenue Authority is unfit to hold office following allegations of breach of conflict of interest laws.
Our case is that Strad should investigate the matter, and when she is found guilty, Strad should make a declaration to the effect that Madame Adeline Asherin is unfit to hold the position of a member of the governing board of GR.
We have details. Lawyers for suspended PPA CEO Ejeni Mboating have meanwhile formally responded to the allegations of conflict of interest in alleged sale of contracts. Families of the 3 kidnapped Takoradi girls anxious about outcome of the DNA test as 1 month deadline expires. We'll hear from them. We have sports.
The Ghana Football Association Normalization Committee will act as the election committee for the upcoming presidential elections.
And later, what does boxer Bukum Banku's first international victory have in common with the biblical story of Abraham and Sarah, who had to wait many years before having a child?
Sarah, he grow before he born. Sarah grow before he born. Like me, I get 41 years. I'm saying
certainly more Banku to be eaten. We'll hear more from the Maverick sportsman you don't want to miss. All that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. And in our very first story for this afternoon, the Akufo-Addo administration is facing mounting pressure to demonstrate more seriousness in fighting corruption. Now, over the last few weeks, some appointees of the NPP government have faced a number of corruption allegations, including the PPA boss, Ejeni Mboating and acting board chairperson of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Although government says he has tasked the relevant authorities to investigate the matter, there are some who believe there's not enough dedication towards fighting the canker. One of them is former General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Reverend Dr. Kwabena Frimpong. He believes until governments make conscious efforts to punish their own when they are found in corrupt deeds, the fight against corruption by exiting the prospective government would be a dead track. He spoke to ABC News.
Now, corruption fight in Ghana, sometimes when I wake up in the night, deep in the night, ask myself, are we serious? Do we really mean to fight corruption in this country? What I have seen is like always those in government are corrupt, those in opposition are innocent. When the tables turn, then those who were yesterday in government but today in opposition become angels, innocent. And then the angels who have now become, people in government now are the corrupt people. And as long as people are in government, they are corrupt, because that's what the opposition will want you to believe. And everybody in the minority becomes a saint. And the way we have given political color to corruption fight and corruption in this country, that when somebody is even alleged quickly you get party faithfuls fighting back in media, coming around, protecting their own. On that basis, I'm asking the question, are we serious? Do we really mean to fight corruption? You see, I would want to see a situation where government will even disown their own. Party members, regional ministers will disown their own. Get them to court. That party people will disown their own, that you are corrupt, we know you. But that is what I'm saying. Whether we have done enough, I doubt. I think that's a question, because corruption in this country is not only the government side. I'm talking about even corruption in communities, traditional, land sale, examination or practices, even corruption in the church, the deceit, the deception in church. So we have a serious problem, but the approach to the corruption fight is what I'm telling you, is that it's between party in government, party in opposition.
You heard that the former General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Reverend Dr. Kwabnapuni Frimpong. Now, you recall that at the 20th anniversary celebration launch of the Ghana Integrity Initiative in Accra last week, Netherlands Ambassador to Ghana, Ron Stryker, urged government to seriously take up the matter of fighting corruption.
There is nothing so killing for the business climate, and you need a good business climate to attract foreign investment, I think, than corruption. Corruption is a very bad thing. Companies suffer and will stay away if they think that they are going to be harassed by corruption in a certain country. The slogan now is, the official policy is Ghana beyond AIDS. Why not Ghana beyond corruption? Thank you.
You have the Netherlands Ambassador to Ghana, Ron Stryker, must apologize for the quality of sound there. But the Speaker of Ghana's Parliament, Professor Michael Quay, has been defending government's commitment to tackling corruption following the comments by the Dutch Ambassador to Ghana. Professor Michael Quay justified the President's policy at the 4th African Network of Parliamentary Budget Officers Conference underway in Accra. Listen.
When you make the money, there must be accountability. No corruption must be eschewed. Like Ghana in particular, we haven't done some of these things in recent years by way of repealing of the criminal libel law, which used to criminalize journalists who contempt government in several ways, and also the Public Procurement Act. And also recently, we have the Special Prosecutor and other measures that are being taken. We'll be very glad if we will have assistance, cooperation with regard to strengthening these institutions, rather than condemning us and saying that we should not talk about Africa beyond me. These are coterminous with one another, and we must look at them with pride in this same connection.
Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay. Now, we'll get to catalogue all the corruption allegations under this Akufo-Addo administration, and a number of them we'll be talking about shortly. But let's head to the Western region because the Ghana Bar Association conference is underway, and the president is expected to outline his government's efforts at fighting corruption. Your Western regional correspondent, Ina Thalia Kwanzaa, joins us on the line. So, Ina, what has the president been saying so far in terms of the fight against corruption?
Yes, so the president just mounted the podium, and then basically he says that there is a missing link when it comes to fighting corruption. So he is, right now he's still speaking. He's talking about the fact that he is working very hard to eliminate corruption in the country. He's yet to finish, so I do not have details of what he is saying now. So he's now will get more information on what he's doing to fight corruption.
Let me leave you to listen to the president. We'll get back to you shortly. That's our Western regional correspondent, Ina Thalia Kwanzaa. And like the information minister said yesterday, President Akufo-Addo is to outline his government's efforts at fighting corruption, what has been done and what is yet to be done in the fight against corruption. But my colleague Raymond Akwa is in the studios with me. We're going to catalogue the number of corruption allegations under this administration. Raymond, let's start with the very latest, contracts for sale.
Yes, we do know that that particular report came out. The reaction from the presidency was to report to both both Shraj and also the Office of Special Prosecutors to deal with the two legs of that particular case. Now, cash for seed scandal, if I've forgotten about that one, the president actually cleared the ministry of any wrongdoing in this particular case. There was supposed to be a parliamentary probe which submitted a report on this particular matter too. Now, fast forward to one of the issues that also got the attention of many. That April 2018 Australian officials arrest of some 50 Ghanaians who participated in the Commonwealth.
So that's the Australian visa scandal.
Games, of course. And we know that at the end of the day, the Deputy Minister then of Sports, Pilot Hajide, and other officials of the National Sports Authority were cleared in that particular report, except that the report itself has not been made public yet. Now, let's look at the Ghana Maritime Authority scandal. The recent one involving the man who was supposed to be heading to the GRA as board chairman. We know that some 135,000 was spent on some staff end of year party in 2017. That issue is yet to receive any specific attention by the relevant state institutions in this particular case. Bust.
The famous
the
one.
15 million contaminated fuel scandal. Two committees were put together. Now, the first one, you remember during the time of Minister Boache Jako, cleared boss Alfred Obin. The man was later removed subsequently by the president, and the minister now is promising to review the work of virtually everybody who has been in the office at boss in relation to this particular matter. So that is where we are with that particular claim. Now, there are many innovations, let's say in the energy ministry, because that's also an important one. We know that when that particular deal was done, the minister was removed from office. We know at the end of the day that by the innovation agreement itself, which was to help us get back some 135 million or 150 million US dollars, we ended up paying more, which this government actually had problems with, while the minister was removed from office, and yet he has not been prosecuted. Nobody's been taken to court on that particular matter too. Now, maybe analysis number 12 is of importance to many, including that claim of 11 million and all of the things related to that. The Attorney General says it is still working on this particular document. Let me bring it home. Robbing the Assembly series. Two of the most important ones were brought up, and you know the one involving some 1,600 million Ghana cedis between 2013 and 2019 agreement, which was actually put together without any written agreement. We understand that the Attorney General's department says they are still working on that. Even when we stay with the robbing the Assemblies one, the 200 million one paid to Zoom Lion and the sister companies for fumigation, when we knew that the Assemblies were already doing the same fumigation or were paying Zoom Lion to undertake a similar one. After 2 years, we know the police CID has submitted a dossier to the AG's office, but nothing, as we speak, has been done about that particular incident too. So there are lots of them. If you would have time, there's also one to do with the National Authority CEO's 11 sole source contract to one individual, and of course, there is an indication for a government report that there was nothing wrong with that particular process. As they have also stated in there, we know the communications ministries, county GVG matters, they are still outstanding and have not been.
And I was waiting to hear PDS as well.
Because PDS is currently ongoing, and there are two things that matter: the issues that were raised prior to, and what the two reports indicate, what government's final decision. We're yet to get to know that, and maybe. You don't have to forget, at some point in time in this government, there was a plan to use 800,000 cedis to build just a website for the Ministry of Special Development Initiatives. There was a plan, of course, that number was supposed to have been changed, but there was no investigation into that particular detailed budget that was presented by the ministry and the issues that were raised in that particular detailed budget. Well, these are just some of them.
And just off the top of Raymond Akwa's head, he's just mentioned about 12 of these corruption scandals. Raymond, thank you. And I'm sure you can read more on that on myjoyonline.com. But let's stay a while longer on corruption-related issues, because Pressure Group, Youth for Accountable Governance, has petitioned Shraj asking for a declaration that acting board chairperson of the Ghana Revenue Authority is unfit to hold office. The group in its petition says Madame Adelaide Ehwing breached Ghana's laws on conflict of interest and the Code of Conduct for Public Officers in been renting out her 3-story duplex and a 2-story concrete block property located at Agbobloshi South Industrial Area at an annual charge of 1.4 million Ghana cedis to the GRA. Now, the governing NPP has jumped to the defense of the acting board chairperson, arguing that Adelaide Shreng did no wrong in renting the properties to the GRA. Yabuabien Samwa is Director of Communications for the governing NPP.
GRA is too big to take decisions off the cuff. Through a technical process, the lady was not even board chair. So it is painful. The pricing was interrogated and it is sound price. It is not fair to the lady. We have a right to interrogate them, but let us interrogate it in the proper context. Let's not condemn Ghanaians who have done something for themselves, who are contributing to this economy before we interrogate the issue.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
That's the Director of Communications for the governing NPP, Yao Buabian Someone. Well, Shraj is being asked by Pressure Group, Youth for Accountable Governance, to probe the matter. Member of the group, Amos Blessing Amose, says Madame Adelaide Shreng breached Ghana's laws.
Madame Adelaide Shreng, the acting board chairperson of the Ghana Revenue Authority, conducts herself in a manner that raises issues of conflict of interest. And in so doing, she, as an acting board chairperson of GRA, sat in a meeting that approved a transaction that led to the lease of properties belonging to her company, FIO Enterprise, one at South Industrial Area and one at Agbobloshi. And in our view, that is a violation of Article 284 of the Constitution of Ghana and Section 2 of the Code of Conduct and guidelines on conflict of interest issued by Shraj. Now, our case is that Shraj should investigate the matter, and when she is found guilty, Shraj should make a declaration to the effect that Madame Adelaide Shreng is unfit to hold the position of a member of the governing board of GRA.
So you have there a leading member of the group, that's a youth, it's a pressure group, Youth for Accountable Governance, asking Shraj to investigate that GRA matter. But still on issues relating to conflict of interest, lawyers for suspended PPA CEO Ejenim Boating have formally responded to the allegations of conflict of interest in alleged sale of contracts. Now the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice that is probing this matter handed Mr. Ej 10 days to respond to the allegations. They've confirmed that Mr. Ej's response was delivered to Shraj this morning. But my colleague Joseph Akable has been finding out more about this issue. So can you confirm to us if Shraj has received that communication?
And so first we checked with the lawyers who confirmed that they dispatched the response this morning. Shraj said it had been received, but they are supposed to do an assessment. You recall when we spoke to the Shraj boss, he had indicated that they want to assess it to know whether he admits to the allegations or not. If he admits to it, it truncates the investigation and they have to come out to the decision. If he doesn't admit to it, they have to go the full haul. And so that determination, we understand, will commence anytime soon.
But you are unsure whether he's admitted to it or he's denying the allegations. We don't know that.
We don't know that for now.
Okay. Well, that's Joseph Akable following up on that. We'll get more of this in our subsequent bulletins. But let's head to Takoradi again. But this time we're focusing on the missing Takoradi girls. As you know, about a month ago, DNA samples of families of the 4 missing Takoradi girls were taken at the Western Region headquarters of the Ghana Police Service. Now, according to the families, they were told the result will be ready in a month, and they are expectant. Joy News correspondent Inathalia Kwanza visited the Quayson's family to gauge their mood ahead of the official announcement. Mother of Ruth Love Quayson was in high spirits when we visited, but she still doesn't believe the remains are the missing girls.
Sunday, missing Kade, my former war, 1 week, or what's I say. So, what bad the Madden Mama woman can say? First, no, I'm a woman, I did, or to the hair. And the one watch me judging the mouse. Yamina some lost Samazon, or you know to Marcia, no, that's him.
Now, sister of Ruth Love Quayson, Rebecca Quayson, says she's confident that the results will be in their favor, but if it comes out otherwise, said they will take the remains and conduct their own test.
We are taking it normal because we believe that the bones are not our girls. We believe that my sister is alive, so it's normal. We hope that we will hear good news. They will do a good job, because if not, then we have to do something again. Then we have to collect the bones and do our own test, because we can't just sit down and let this thing go by. No, we have to see our sisters. What actually happened? We have to do it. Whether it costs billions, we will plead to Ghanaians if they will assist. Fine. If not, we will try our possible best to do the test, because we can't just let this go.
You heard Rebecca Quayson, a sister of one of the missing Takoradi girls, Ruth Love Quayson. Now, the Ghana Police and Immigration Service have formed a joint counter-terrorism unit. The high-risk operation is aimed at bringing synergy among the two institutions to deal with violent crimes. The Director of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service, ACP David Eklu, says that the operations form part of measures to address security concerns along Ghana's porous borders. 102 police officers and 65 immigration officers will be taken through vigorous training, 3 weeks of that exercise.
There are joint operations along the borders with immigration and police called Operation Conquest Fist. This is a measure to step up that operation. So this one, the training would enhance operational capability of both the police and then the immigration officers, who then cascade the training to the officers. This is a training program that will take 3 weeks. There are various aspects that the officers will be taking. Then, as I said, they are supposed to come and train other officers around hotspots, the northern corridor of the country, and other areas that will come up. For now, our concern is about the northern, upper west, upper east region, and then the northern part of the country and parts of even the Volta region.
Is there any special reason?
The signs are indicating that for major entry points, especially through the land, it will come through these areas. So these are the areas that we are keeping our eye on.
You heard that the Director General of Public Affairs of the Ghana Police Service, ACP David Eklu, bringing us to a short break here on the Midday News. When we return, what does Bukom Banku's first international victory have in common with the biblical story of Abraham and Sarah, who had to wait many years before having a child?
Sarah, you grow before you born. Sarah grow before you born. Like me, I get 41 years. I'm saying
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go!
Kremasa, Ghana, so we correct Mason pa. A Yamikosi super, me a super Mason and Kasa, because our job no and yet better. They won't see how beautiful and high quality your work is. That be what them they use, believe you. That be why me too. It be only super cement at the use. Cement mu cement papa. Intire me cries in ira from because super. Because me the super cement and dimity ra.
Super cement is designed to ensure that your buildings stand strong for generations. Build with Supersem Cement. Build your dream. Build.
Ago, my people, the Electoral Commission announces that the exhibition of the Voters Register comes off from Tuesday, 10th September to Tuesday, 17th September 2019 from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. All those who registered from the 2012 after 2019 registration exercises should go in person to their polling stations to check if their names and particulars have been properly captured in the register. Go with your voter's ID card to facilitate fast checking of names. If you have lost your ID card, you should still go and check. Go to the polling station and have all your complaints resolved. Help ensure a clean and credible voters register by helping to remove names of deceased relatives. Come along with burial, death or obituary notice to help clean up the register. Let us help clean up the voters register to ensure free and fair election. Remember, the exhibition of the voters register comes off from Tuesday, 10th September to Tuesday, 17th September 2019 from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on the Midday News. Let's take some sports now from Benedict Owusu. Benedict?
Yeah, MF. Now, the Ghana Football Association Normalization Committee has denied media reports that it made appointments to the Elections Committee for the upcoming elections. Now, in a statement released by the NC, and I quote, "We wish to inform all stakeholders that the reports are false and should be disregarded." Now, pursuant to Article 79.2, that's the transitional provisions of the newly adopted statute of the GFA, members of the Normalization Committee of the FA shall act as the Elections Committee for the upcoming GFA Presidential and Executive Council elections. Now, as part of its duties as stipulated in Article 5 of the Elections Regulations, the NC, acting as the Elections Committee, is empowered to organize, run, and supervise the elections. So that's the statement from the NC. And already some phases have made known their intentions to contest the FA top job. George Friye is one of them, and he tells Joy Sports his camp is coming out with a comprehensive campaign plan. That's a comprehensive campaign plan in the coming days.
Well, of course, last year I did that announcement, but in the coming days we are going to come out with a very comprehensive campaign plan. We are going to come out with a manifesto. We are going to come out with our vision for Ghana football. And so in the coming days it's going to be very busy for all of us. And we need to sell the idea why a change must happen. We need to tell the Ghanaian public why George Friye is the right person for football. Trust me, at this juncture and at this point in our football history, we need a unifier. We need somebody who understands the status. We need somebody who understands the workings of football in this country and beyond. It is very important. This is not a time for any matramakwe. This is not a time for any trial and error. And so you need somebody who is very experienced, who is well marketed, who understands the terrain, and who is ready to deliver us in the modern football.
So that's George Friye, former vice president of the Ghana Football Association. Of course, now he wants to be president of the federation. There is more when you join us at 1 on That's Sports Track.
I definitely will. And from sports, let's talk about sanitation, because the Joy Clean Ghana campaign is on. And guess what? Residents of Aveno are calling for an AMA task force that will patrol the area at night and arrest sanitation offenders. That's not all. They've also decided to stop dumping refuse at the bank of the Odo drain. There's more in this. Listen.
We are taking him away.
Inspector Joseph Asitanga there instructing residents of Aveno to clean or watch their neighbor face jail time.
So I want to see brooms here, then you start to show a sign of cleaning the place, then I will let us go. Now.
Lying by the Odo drain was refuse piled up as though it was a dumping site, with plastics and foodstuff leaving the entire place with a stench. But today the situation is different. The place still looked neat, except the heap of sand that still had plastic bags planted in them, and also what looks like fresh refuse that had been dumped. Oscar Tego, a resident, says he has been keeping watch in the community, making sure the area is clean.
One time, somebody dumped and asked the person to take the rubbish with his hands, his bare hands, because you can leave your home and come and dump here.
Henry here had been keeping watch as well, but says he gave up when there was no motivation for him and his colleagues, but rather had to bear insult.
I say no, say we are obi yaw, avelo obi nimu, obi yawa obi yaw umami. Well,
Henry says that yes, he was tasked to do the job of observing and making sure people don't throw rubbish here. But he also stopped because it got to a time where people started attacking him, asking him whether that was his job, insulting him and insulting some of his relatives. And he said that he couldn't take the pain.
Madam Ajara Ali, who was angry last week that she had to sweep the rubbish she did not make, says the only way this will work is when the AMA officials station their personnel at the area at dawn.
AMA phone, she needs just one thing, that the AMA, the assemblyman, will come together, elect some individuals to stand by and guard here at night.
Inspector Sitanga put this entire project in the hands of Godfred, a resident in this area. He says there are plans to see a permanent solution to the problem.
I've talked to one of the AMA elders, and he promised he will help us with their machines to come and level the place for us so that we cement to the gutter.
The Joy Clean Ghana campaign is back this Wednesday, but be on the lookout. Keep your surroundings clean.
Definitely be on the lookout. Now, some NDC MPs have dismissed allegations that they owe the Metro Mass Transit Limited up to about 1.5 million Ghana cedis in debt accruing from the hiring of buses for their respective campaigns in the last election. We'll hear from some of them. But first, here's the Corporate Communications Manager, George Krobia, speaking to Joy News.
Honorable A.B. Fusi is the first on the list. He is supposed to give Metro Mass 21,520. That is Honorable A.B. Fuseni. Honorable Alaji Tanko will pay Metro Mass 5,650.40. Honorable Mahama Ayariga, and in the case of Honorable Mahama Ayariga, is very alarming. He is supposed to pay Metro Mass 168,831.55. Honorable Okujata Blakwa, who is also claiming that he is not indebted to the company.
Yeah, because we've been told that he says
he's not getting it well. There are services that were performed in his name as an individual, and then there are services that we perform on his behalf. So Honorable Okujata Blakwa as at now owns Metro Mass 10,800 Ghana cedis.
We can hear from the North Tongue MP, Honorable Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa. He's been responding to this claim.
Immediately after the 2016 election, I did walk up to the MMT and asked for my total indebtedness following the 2016 electioneering period. I received a total pro forma invoice of 35,000 Ghana cedis, and I did redeem all of the amount. So I am not aware of any outstanding indebtedness. Now, listening to the PRO, it does appear that a new angle is emerging. The PRO is talking about me mixing two issues, and that there was one, what I paid has to do with what was done, services rendered directly to me. And he is now introducing a new category, which he describes as services rendered on my behalf. The question that arises, therefore, is on my behalf presupposes somebody requested those services. Who is that person? Did they find out if indeed that person had my authorization? And how come all of this is coming into the public domain 3 years down the lane?
Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, they're ending this edition of the Midday News. But of course, we cannot go without hearing from Bukom Banku, who is likening his first international victory to the biblical story of Abraham and Sarah. I am Emefa Pau. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com.
By the grace of God, I win the fight round 3. I stop my opponent round 3.